we have spawning to the bottom right-hand position as the red Protoss player representing TeamLiquid.net. It's MaNa. And his opponent spawning in the bottom left position, needing to win 2 games in a row now to advance in the winner's bracket, representing Invasion eSports. It's Harstem. So Harstem holding that attack like a boss at the sort of at the very end of that previous game, able to force field off the 2 Immortals and basically kill off the lifeblood of the attack coming in there from MaNa. Doing a very good job. Harstem is first going to be scouting the close positions on the left-hand side of the map, whereas MaNa is going cross-map to see if they're both on the bottom. So MaNa will be able to scout Harstem first. We'll see what happens once he spots his opponent is here and what kind of strategies he chooses to employ. So there we go, instantly plopping into the main base. Nothing too out of the ordinary there. We have the 2 gateway approach coming in for Harstem. Wanting to get those units out nice and early, being relatively safe, and MaNa already getting his Nexus down as well. So trusting that his opponent hasn't actually scouted him yet. He instead is going to be going for the Nexus after the gateway prior to getting his Cybercore down, whereas Harstem has gone for 2 gateways, so has the potential to maybe get a couple of units out earlier on and try and do some harassment damage, but that's always a little bit of a question mark when your probe's out on the map and you haven't actually scouted what your opponent's up to yet and where he is. So whether or not Harstem chooses to take that risk, I don't know, but it's certainly a little bit riskier than on maps where you already know where your opponent is and you're able to scout them in the very early stages of the game. He's going double Stalker, and of course, you know, sending them across the map, you can always get something done. And Harstem at the moment, oh wow. Well, he knows his opponent is across map, and he is going to be putting a Twilight Council rather far away here, and I get the impression that it's not just going to be a Twilight Council being proxied here by Harstem. There's no way on earth is MaNa going to be scouting that, knowing that his opponent spawned cross positions like this. How on earth can he possibly spot these proxy DTs? So I'm liking this from Harstem because he's reacting to obviously scouting his opponent last, with his opponent scouting him first. Obviously a frustrating position to be in. There is the Twilight Council going down, and there we go. Dark Shrine coming in from Harstem, basically at the 11 o'clock position on this map. And look, there is no reason for MaNa to ever go up here. So the first MaNa is going to spot DTs will be either when they're warping in or when they're already in his base. That much about this game is essentially guaranteed. And this probe just going to be checking out the watchtower to see if anything's proxied closer to home. But it will not be on this occasion. Harstem now bringing his own probes around in addition to these stalkers to see exactly what MaNa has in store. Harstem going for a big gamble here. All he spotted is that there are 2 stalkers and a pylon on top of that ramp right now, so not the world's greatest amount of info. Harstem's also going for his natural expansion now too. So we'll see what happens once the DTs come out and once he can actually get an attack going. He's got the robo facility off the back of this as well. So technically this all looks well and good, except for the fact that the natural expansion is only halfway done, and MaNa's been mining there for quite some time now, so that ends up being a little bit tricky. If you take a look at the income, MaNa's just so comfortably ahead of Harstem right now. Harstem is, wow, well, I guess we can go ahead and proxy more buildings, why not? And actually picks off that probe, which I believe is important because that might mean MaNa hasn't seen this yet. Oh no, MaNa's seen the pylon. Okay, so he's cancelled the additional gateway that's coming up. Instead's just going to be focusing on the robo that's finishing back at home. And what is MaNa going to do? He's aggregating his units now. He's thinking about pushing down the ramp. He's not 100% certain what's going on. Here come the DTs. They're warping in. And I believe they're warping in at this pylon on the low ground. Here is the Shade going to spot them. He sees an Adept. He doesn't see the DT though. Where's the detection? Oh goodness, there's the detection. The detection should spot the DT. The detection does spot the DT, and that's going to make it really difficult. Did he see it off the edge of the vision there? I mean, it was in vision for the observer, but does he know that there are DTs incoming? Warp prism being made. Where is the observer? It's actually just going to be hanging around at the ramp. This DT from Harstem, oh, such a tricky position for him to be in because he needs to do some damage here so he can catch up economically. He's technically on 33 workers as well, but MaNa's just been mining so much longer from this natural expansion. He's actually ahead 11 supply just from, with the same worker supply as well. So just to give you an idea of what the money difference between these players are. And it looks like the DC is going to be going into a Warp Prism. So a lot rests on whether or not this observer from MaNa decides to join the fray and go aggressive. But I think he knows that there are DTs out and about. Because look, he's only moving this out of his main base when the second one pops in as well. And I feel like that is a sign that MaNa knows what to expect. Now, I think that observer actually spotted that Warp Prism as well. And if he didn't before, he certainly does now. And here comes Harstem with the quote-unquote surprise DTs. Let's see how well it does. 1 worker killed, 2 worker killed, 3 worker killed. I feel like the count from Sesame Street. Did MaNa just kill one of his own probes? Anyway, 4 worker killed. And that was actually pretty good considering. Where was the second observer from MaNa? So that's the first one. Is the second one exploring up here still? Where are you? Let me find you. Okay, so we have the second one inside the mineral line. So he was there or thereabouts. I'm a little bit surprised, therefore, that the Warp Prism managed to get away scot-free, but that's cool. The DT is now holding the watchtower over here on the right-hand side. And this pylon's also going to get taken down by a couple of adepts over there. They don't look particularly happy with the presence of this, and they will be able to see to it that that goes very, very quickly indeed. And we have the Robo Bay now coming down for Harstem. So we're probably going to once again go into Disruptor play here in this PvP, in this game number 4. And he is, we do have Immortals being churned out at the moment. So just going to be really, really heavy on these Robo units, then going for the Disruptors, which will hopefully kill off units like Stalkers, maybe catch a couple of Adepts off guard and stuff like that. In the meantime, MaNa is looking to do possibly a little bit of harassment damage of his own. Moving out with this Warp Prism, but Harstem has all his units at home still, so it's not really going to be that effective, to be honest. Both players just moving around the map, looking for opportunities to come in and snipe things off with their Warp Prisms. And not really sure how much damage is realistically going to get done. MaNa's going to be the first to move out. Moving out with quite a lot of his army, actually. Harstem just with a single adept going towards the southern Xel'Naga Tower. And unfortunately, this Xel is going to see it coming. And as a direct result, this could end up being a problem. Oh, yep, it is a big, big problem indeed. If we had a blink there, it could have killed off the adept. But because we did not, we might have this skirmish in the middle of the map. Now, I have to say, Harstem is looking very good in this situation. Warp Prism coming in with a couple of adepts behind the mineral line, but there are 3 Immortals here and a Disruptor. I mean, seriously? What could you possibly do here? MaNa is gonna force the cancel at the third base, but he really does have to get out. There's not a lot he can do against 3 Immortals. And he's gonna have to concede the position and just say, well, hang on a second, I know my third base now is considerably earlier than yours, so why can't I hold this and try and go for a bit of an advantage? Disruptor trying to defend against a Warp Prism, unsuccessfully doing that. MaNa able to pick everything up in time. Work has killed this game 7-6 in favor of Harstem, who's currently down 105 to 129 supply. So once again, we're reaching that lull in the game right now where both players are kind of happy to sit back and defend their third bases. We have double Disruptor production coming out from Harstem, so there's no prizes for guessing what he wants to do, just constantly using these heavy hitters because he's seen. I mean, this army from MaNa, Harstem's seen it, and he knows that with this many Stalkers, if you accidentally catch a Stalkers after a quick blink, where you just send a Disruptor shot and it's like your Stalkers have just blinked, all they can do is run and hope they're okay. You tend to be in an excellent position here. So this means that MaNa can't offensively blink in, because even if he thinks he can surround and kill all 3 of these Immortals, a couple of Disruptor shots kills off half of his Stalkers, and all of a sudden he loses the fight. And now we have 4 Disruptors with this army as well, so Harstem getting very, very serious about trying to take this out. Now MaNa with his army positioning is actually pretty good here. He's hanging around and waiting to see where the army is so that he can blink up. And that's important because the Disruptors have to go the long way around before they can actually engage this army. You can see here, they're all the way down here while MaNa effectively takes out whatever the heck he wants inside the main base. We need a blink! We do get a blink, actually. That was really good. But the follow-up, and oh god, that's what I was talking about. As soon as those Stalkers have blinked, the follow-up shots from the Disruptors do so much damage. Can MaNa actually hold this position right now? If he can, he might just win the game outright. But Harstem right now, his Immortals are kind of separated, and the Disruptors, while they got some good hits off, he's not been able to sort of target MaNa in any one position. It's been really frustrating. MaNa's been able to go from base to base, using the Warp Prism and the Immortals to great effect and blinking in and out. And the oh god, that Disruptor shot was sick, because Harstem sent that off the low ground before MaNa ever blinked. As soon as the blink came up, he knew he had absolutely no chance to deal it. That was really cool, and all MaNa can do is take out this third base. He needs to take out that Nexus. Take out the Nexus? The Nexus? I mean, he will just before he leaves, right? And see what he can do there. But wow. Okay, so the Nexus appears to survive there, and I'm not certain what MaNa got from that at all, because he is at 73 to 98 supply. He technically has a higher worker count, but almost any counterattack from Harstem now is going to inflict massive damage on MaNa. Just look at the amount of gas in these Immortals and Disruptors, for example. Harstem needs 2 Warpins and he can go. And, oh wow, well, conveniently, that's more or less about 2 Warpins worth of units. So Harstem's going to be moving out across the map now. How is MaNa going to stem the tide? I really like the fact that he was blinking in and out, but he had to do more damage with the initial push. Once Harstem worked out what was going on, he kept his Disruptors in this kind of position really cleverly. And it meant that wherever MaNa blinked, the Disruptors could fire upon them. So that was really good. I'm a little disappointed in MaNa. Oh! For hitting that Disruptor shot, but also for, unfortunately, not getting the Nexus as he moved out, which means that Harstem is going to be able to comfortably triple bankroll this push on the way out of here. And wow, he's actually blinking in right now, and that's the Disruptor shot. That's money. You have to be so careful when blinking in like that. And MaNa now dropping to below 65 supply versus the 90 from Harstem, and I don't think that gamble paid off at all. That's exactly what we were talking about, having Disruptors in the back of your army there, because very simply, you're going to be in a position where if they blink on top of you, you kind of guarantee kill at least half of their Stalkers. That's exactly what Harstem made use of there. So Harstem now definitely in the driving seat, and he might be able to push this all the way to a game number 5. MaNa now going ahead and picking off the last couple of units from that push, but he is still about 25 supply behind. And Harstem, oh dear, these Stalkers are blinking out as well. Harstem has a huge opportunity to go and try and crunch this third base, but he's actually going back to take out this army instead by the looks of things. Ooh, a couple units getting picked off for free over there as well. That's not good. Harstem going for his 4th off the back of this. There's no way MaNa's doing the same at the moment with his current supply situation. Although he is up to 400 minerals, he might be thinking about it, but I think he would want to expand further away from Harstem rather than closer right now. Very dynamic, very interesting PvP with a huge array of strategies that we've seen in this series so far. Very aggressive builds coming out in games 1 and 2 in particular. We have a proxy right now from Harstem to try and take this into a game number 5 too. So all sorts of fun and games right now today in the WCS Winter Regional Challenges, and the 4th base from Harstem has been spotted. Is it going to get cancelled? That forward blink suggests it is not. It looks like we're going to want to contest this with all our might and fury, and Harstem will be able to comfortably hold that base at the top of the hill. So using his supply advantage and his tech advantage to good benefit there. But behind this, MaNa hasn't been resting on his laurels. He's got a couple of Immortals, and by a couple I mean 4 actually, so that's a reasonable number indeed, and he's only using his Stalkers to be super mobile right now and try and keep a hold of Harstem's army for as long as possible. Harstem, though, slowly gaining on that map control. It does mean that MaNa might be able to set himself up for one big push, where if he's able to win that single engagement, he can push Harstem all the way back to his 3rd. And any engagement that cedes control of this watchtower also risks ceding control of this 4th base. So if Harstem suddenly lost his 4th base at every probe mining from it, I actually reckon MaNa might have some really good momentum to possibly come in there and do an awful lot of damage. The difference, though, does seem to be the Disruptors. Harstem is running Disruptors, and MaNa is not right now. And that's kind of the story of this game, to be honest. If we take a look at the upgrades, we have +2 attack for Harstem already complete. MaNa playing catch-up right now. He's only just started +2. And Harstem's got +3 going already. So that earlier advantage economically that Harstem's been able to squeeze out, it's not quite snowballing, but it has led to additional benefits, and Harstem doesn't look like he's slowing up anytime soon. Now, with these disruptors as well, is Harstem going to be coming in for what might be a final push? If he gets some dream hits on these disruptors, that could be huge. Oh, and it looks like first blood from disruptors actually coming from MaNa with 2 on the ramp there. Maybe surprising Harstem. There's a third one popping in as well. This is going to make it very difficult for Harstem to position his army to move in. But he has a new target. The 4th base here. If Harstem manages to see that, then he can just prevent that from ever getting taken in the first place. And we have a blink forward, a very dangerous blink forward there from MaNa. Wow, both sides actually. Oh my god, the disruptor shots are huge at the moment. Everyone is killing the Stalkers of everyone else. The Immortals from Harstem holding strong right now, but MaNa has units really well spread against the Disruptors. The problem is they still get shredded by the Immortals anyway. Number of Disruptors on the field, currently 5 versus 2, and Harstem is now looking to turn the screw a little bit. MaNa unable to deal with the heavy hitters from that army. Another great couple of Disruptor shots, but look at how hardy those Immortals are. They're basically tanking 3 Disruptor shots before they actually die, and that's assuming no micro whatsoever. And here we go, Disruptors towards the probe. Very, very dangerous situation. MaNa gives the GG, and Invasion eSports Harstem forces this series into a game number 5.